Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining us for this Men's Talk. Hey, look, we're looking forward to this moment right here because we realize that many of us as men, and young men, we are dealing with different challenges in life. And sometimes people don't understand the challenges that we deal with, and sometimes we get involved in relationships and then that individual don't even understand really what's going on, or they assume, about the man. So this right here is this time is to really talk about men, challenges that we deal with and how to overcome those challenges. And if you have any questions, feel free to join in on the chat, because we are here to assist. We are open, we are transparent. Our goal is to have a healthy conversation and to help bring some things to the end that needs to come to an end. Those destructive ideals and thoughts that's no good, and those poor generational decisions, those things need to go. And we are here to make a big difference. We want to renew the minds, and we want to encourage the brothers to go forward and do what needs to be done, because we all are learning. Every day is a learning experience, and we want to make the most of this time. We appreciate you joining us here at the Underground Christian Center. And I tell you right now, I have two young men that I'm going to have introduced themselves unto you because I want you to get to know them. The Lord laid them upon my heart to have them to involve and to conversate and to share on today. And I know that they're going to have some good information. They're going to share some things that will be able to help you out, at the same time help themselves out as well. Because once again, we are here together to help one another. It's enough negativity going on. It's enough destruction, but it's time for us to help one another. So I want to introduce this young fellow here to my right here, and that is
Duff Sr., third born, second son.
Yes.
All right.
All right. To my left.
Desmond Bond Sr.
And who are you?
The first nephew.
Yes.
Number one, yeah. The first nephew.
He is quite nervous, and we're gonna, as we always do, we work through this right here. And I'd love to get closer to the table. I'm gonna lean up, but we want to go ahead and to really have a good, healthy conversation. As he said, this is Mikhail. He is my third born, and my second oldest son. So we are here. He's here to share some insight. He has experienced different things in life as well. And then here to my left is my nephew. So he is the first nephew, male nephew here in the family, and he's going to share some insight, and we're glad to have him, to share with us. Because once again, this right here, our goal is to help. Our goal is to open dialogue, because men, we know how to hide. As men, we know how to camouflage. As men, we know how to perpetrate. As men, we know how to go through the motion. And that's why it's important as men that we become transparent, that we learn how to be honest, that we learn how to be open, so that we can be the best that we was purposed to be. And that's what's most important right there. So we're going to open this up, and please, questions that you may have, I want you to take a moment to put them down in the chat. And I want you also, because we have someone handling all of that, we want you to put them questions in there. And also, we want you to take a few moments to reach some brothers. And matter of fact, reach some ladies too, because ladies will never understand a man unless they learn to sit and listen while men talk about men. Then they will know how to be able to better help assist the man. So we're going to give you a few moments just to go ahead and look at your phone, look at your contacts, and send this out to some of the people that that can benefit of hearing men have a discussion. Glory be to God. So take that moment to reach out to some brothers and some ladies, and those are in relationships. They need to hear this. And so please take that moment to reach out to each and every one of them, because we want to make a big difference. Now, understand this right here. There's an age gap here. There's an age difference between me and them. And, and I love it, so much because sometimes as men, we think we know it because we're older. But I learned in time that there's a lot of men that's older than I, but yet they still think foolish. They don't understand family. They don't understand being a man, but yet they're older than I am. And so that's why it's important that we have this dialogue with the younger generation to see how we can be better impactful in my generation and the generation of before me. How can we be impactful to reach this younger generation? Because we should be concerned about this witnessing and talking and encouraging the fruit brothers, but we should be looking and desiring to impact generations. So because we don't want our kids, why would we want, like for me, why would I want my grandchild to grow up being dysfunctional? Why would I want my grandchild to experience some of the things that I experienced that I didn't like? But in order to break that cycle, I first have to be an example, and I first must do what I need to do in order to go ahead and to make a difference. That's important there. So I'm glad both of you took time to join in. I definitely appreciate y'all. And we want to start off with what were some of your experiences like as a young man? What are some of your experiences that you experienced? Some good and some bad, some challenging experiences.
Man, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Well, just take a few.
Man, as a young boy, I did a lot of stupid stuff. A lot of stupid stuff. Like growing up fast, making older decisions, like man decisions at a young age. Like it was stupid. But all the good stuff I had. You said the good. What you say?
Mm-hmm. The good as well. The good.
The good as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, some good experiences that you had as dealing with you growing into a man, you being a man, from that transitioning from the boy to the man. What's some good experiences that you had?
Learning the healthy way of really, growing up as a young man and me looking and seeing and watching everybody in my life and picking pieces apart of them. You know what I'm saying? It lets, like, to make you the person that you are. I found out and realized that, men had to learn how to be a nurturer as well. So that was one of the good experiences I've seen, how like how can I word this? How like I take the time out and I seen how what you did with us at times and what I seen what other pops would do at times. Like, like if a kid fall down instead of like, yo man, get up, man up, be quiet, man up, tighten up and keep it pushing. It is set down like, all right, you all right? You know what I mean? Learn how to actually truly how to discuss, how to talk. So that was one of the good experiences that I have as a young man growing into a man. Mm-hmm. And knowing that my way, me thinking that I had a game plan on life and game plan on all my decisions, actuality, man. Thinking that I knew it all at a young age and which I ain't know nothing. Mm-hmm. So that's a good one too. Mm-hmm. That's a real good one too. Like thinking that you had it all figured out, thinking that you know what you're doing, but from to realize, man, you're picking up game from all the older heads and the knowledge, and be like, and then you sit back and then like we're like you and Dukes always said, man, time will tell, time will teach you, time will learn you, and that's a real good one. Bad ones, poor decision making, not following proper guidance. Doing things that I shouldn't ever, like, doing things that I think that it was necessary to do, but wasn't doing, like, constantly robbing, shootouts, fighting, thinking that it's cool, thinking that, that what a man's supposed to do. But I realized, man, that was stupid. That was dumb.
All right, well, thank you for being transparent. How about you, young fella?
It's a lot, I gotta say. Growing up in the hood, originally from the LV, Lamokin Village Crips, living with mom.
Make sure to put that mic up. I want everybody to hear.
Living with mom and, in the street, in the hood. What to say? All right. I'm a little shy, that's why.
That's all right, just relax.
All right. My father wasn't there. But I did have a guy that was there in my life named Desmond. And I seen him on the weekends. You know, Friday he come get me. You know, he put me in books. Then I'm with my mom, and it's back in the hood. You know, a lot of stuff happened to me, like a lot. You know, depression problems, missing my father, always wanted to see him. But I could say one good thing about my uncle, he came to come get me growing up too, and he took care of me. You know, so I had two positive people, Desmond and my uncle Matt. You know, other than that, like I said, I'm living in the hood. You know, what else?
Okay, okay.
Well,
Well,
sorry for cutting you
go
off.
ahead, no, go ahead.
I tried marijuana, no other drugs, and drinking, you know, but I don't smoke weed no more, you know. So once in a blue moon, I might have a drink, but, you know, I take my time off and I just be chilling, but try to stay positive. I want to do better. I want to be in my kids' life, because I never had that, you know. So I'm trying. That's why I'm, you know, be honest, that's why I'm going back to New York, go prove CPS and try to make better changes for them boys. Just, you know, a lot of stuff on my head, and I want to be like, you know, somebody. You know what I said? Yeah. So you gotta make better changes in life and show better examples. You know, the streets ain't always good. Like I said, I've been through a lot.
So you want to be better than somebody else?
Yeah, my biological father.
Okay. All right. And see, that's why it was important for us to have the transparency. That's why this is not script. Hear me good. This is not script at all. I wanted them to be transparent. They didn't have to share some of the things they just shared at all, but they was transparent. And I didn't want them to hold back, but I want them to share what they felt like sharing. You know, because how many times we as men have the opportunities to share and, you know, and put ourselves out there and not worry about what anybody think, you know, and this is important. You know, I hope we are encouraging other young men and fathers and older men to learn how to communicate with one another and, you know, to talk, have open dialogue. As Mikhail shared, you know, that's one of the things that I'm known for. I like to talk. I want to communicate. I want to know why. And, you know, so we could work through this why, and then so that we could go ahead and not repeat with something that is negative. I always want them to make the decision, so I got to bring these things, ask them why, having to think these things through. That's important because coming up, I too experienced these things, got involved in some things that I shouldn't have got involved in, made decisions I should not have made. And, you know, I too experienced the same thing dealing with my father not being there for me. I experienced all of that.
Glad I ain't experienced
You
that,
know,
John.
right. You didn't have to experience that part because I didn't want my kids to go through what I went through. So I had to make some decisions in my life at all. You know, I didn't want my kids to experience what my nephew experienced. I didn't want that. And many other young men and men experience the exact same thing. You know, fathers not being present in their life at all or being consistent in their lives. That happened, and that is just so real. And we have more men focus on other things. They focus on things, and they focus on materialistic things. They focus on how other people view them. They focus on status. They focus on things that don't really mean nothing, instead of focusing on their seed. I seen it. I experienced it. I know how it feels. And so that's why this is so important. And I always have to express the importance of having these dialogues, because what y'all see, you know, some of y'all may never even thought that we experienced these things. You would never thought I experienced these things. But this is real for them. This is what they endure. This is their world. And that's why it's important that we dialogue about their world. And by dialoguing, we find out that we have so much in common. So much in common. And we realize that there's changes, there was decisions that was made to get different results. And that's what we need to focus on. Go ahead.
Like I said, Monday to Friday, you know, I was more in the streets. I've seen a lot of guns. I've been around big-time drug dealers, you know. you know, I inherited that life because, you know, but now I'm different, you know, and I actually woke up, you know. I believe in God, and I want to do better. And, you know, like I said, I suffered through my mental health, but things will get better in God's hands.
And so, what now led you down that path of connecting with the negativity? What led you down that path?
It's something you diagnose, you know.
I could tell you that
like,
from the rip.
like you wasn't my cousin's life, you know what I'm saying? And I never only seen Desmond, you know, dad, you know, when I called dad, I only seen him on the weekends, you know what I mean? I wasn't, you know, when I'm with my mom, I experienced a lot of stuff. Living with 4 sisters, got blamed for it, so that led me to the streets, you know, that I ain't never want to come and Desmond, bring you in the house, you know. I'm out in the streets hanging out, drinking cold 40s, you know. I was out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I did a lot of stuff out there, you know. And now me, to teach my boys how to be a man, I'm going to be there. You know, number one, I'm going to teach my 4 daughters. I am going straight enough for them. Because they getting older now, to be honest. They out and having sex at 15 and 16 years old. 15-year-old trying to get pregnant. You know, I lost my virginity around that time. You know what I mean? Had my first kid, you know, and I don't think it's right. So, or enough to teach them how to, you know, I can't teach a girl, but at least I can get them wisdom, you know. But my sons, I'm going back for my sons, and I'm going to teach them because they still babies, 3 and 1 year old, you know. I don't want them to have that back. Their mom is a crackhead, prostitute, you know, and I took her to court, got 50-50. Then I wound up getting locked up for a DWI because racist cops out there, you know. It's a lot that happened. They got me for neglect, you know. So now I'm going back there to, you know, to prove everything, you know, and teach them boys how to be a man.
All right. And you said a whole lot. And
Yeah, that was a mouthful, bro.
yeah, you said a whole lot. And that's why, you know, we want to take a moment here to be the best example for your children. You have to role model before them.
Mm-hmm.
You have to show them, and your daughters, especially your daughters, you have to show them what a man is supposed to be like.
Yeah.
I had to show your cousin this is how a man's supposed to be by me loving their mother properly and loving her properly and upholding myself with standards. And that now she's able to see and recognize that. And now she most likely will pick someone that is just like her father. Someone that's going to love her, nurture her. Someone's going to love their family and be committed to God, then their family.
Right.
You know, someone that's going to be faithful, you know, because I demonstrated that before her. And you're going to have to do that for your children. You're going to have to role model because you could say anything. As Mikhail mentioned earlier, what was saying, I always said, time tells everything. You're going to have to demonstrate this action. You're going to have to show them how to properly present yourself before them. If not, they're going to be attracted to someone still just like you. And if you're not happy with the way you are, now just imagine them connecting with someone just like you.
Right.
You know, so we have to break these cycles, and these cycles first starts with us. You know, God is not going to do it. It's going to be us. We have to make our mind up to submit to God, and then we'll see the change happen in our lives. But God is not going to jump down and do it for you. We have to do it. And what we have to do is submit. The more we submit to Him, the more now He's able to reflect out of us and make an impact on every life that we come in contact with. But first of all, ours first. Because they need to see that. These young ladies, if we don't want them to get with a thug or someone that's out there drinking, or someone out there gangbanging, someone out there doing drugs, then we first got to show them this is the type of man you ought to be attracted to. And you know, and that starts with us. And we cannot blame our past experiences. I learned this. I learned this in my 20s. I learned this, that I cannot continue to blame my father for being a poor father. I can't. Come to find out what I learned, and I'm grateful for my uncle. He's going down, your uncle.
Yeah, you came a long way.
Right. He taught me that I have to forgive. Although my father was not committed to my life, my father was a poor role model to me. My father, at times I felt like I wasn't loved by him. I was alienated by him. I would travel down South Carolina 544 miles to go see him, and then I'm pushed off to someone else. I thank God for my mom down there who took time out to make sure that I had everything I needed. She made sure I was fed. She made sure I was protected. She made sure I was secure. She made sure I was in good hands. You know, but my father, he ran off putting the front in front of on everybody else as if he's this good person, or as if he's concerned about everybody, but he's concerned about everybody else and doing for everybody else, but he didn't take time to do for me. And I felt some kind of way because I was the oldest.
You feel less than?
I felt less than because I felt abandoned because I'm the oldest. And how can you just leave me? I'm the oldest. If anything, you're supposed to pour more into me so I can help now my other siblings and show them this is what you're supposed to do. But I didn't get none of that. I got abandoned. I got that, you know, is he my son or not my son? I got, you know, all that. I had to deal with all of that. But come to find out, you know, of course I'm your son. If you want to know if I was your son or not, then pay the money and get the blood test, and you would know I was your son. Even the more, although you knew I was your son. But just the fact is that his mindset was there. But come to find out, had so much hatred towards my father. But come to find out, my father only did what he knew to do. Because his father wasn't there for him as far as teaching him how to be a man.
And then that trickled down to your kids.
That trickled down.
That's the reason why the whole time, you know I used to call him. You know what I'm saying? I never, ever since the age of what? I started calling him granddad at what, 6? Or something like that. And then I called him, you know, the name that I can't say. You know what I'm saying? I call him that because it transitioned. Cause I seen how he treat my pop. You know what I'm saying? So I could never call him, what's up, granddad? Nah, that don't stop at an early age, bro. Because how you handle my pops, man, that's my pops, man. We ain't finna do that. Right. I ain't gonna play with you either. I ain't gonna be that funny fake guy in front of your face. You know what I'm saying? I got his blood. I don't got your blood. I don't know you. But I was ignorant. You know what I'm saying? That was ignorant way of thinking. Yeah, but.
And I'm sure with him, Mikhail, the importance of forgiving.
Yeah, so I battled with that hard.
Yeah, I'm sure he had to forgive. Because I had to forgive. Because I cannot expect God to bless me if I hold on to hatred. I had to forgive.
See, I'm not holding on. Back when I was younger, I held on to hatred. Now I'm just like, you know, I got kids of my own now. Only thing, like I said, I want to be the bigger person, and you know, I don't want my kids being in the hood to grow up how I did, and you know, like I said, my baby mom was a good person. I was with her for 10 years, you know. Then she started hooking up with the bad people, you know, trying different things and got hooked. Then she started selling herself. That's the correct way I should have said it, you know. And I didn't want my kids around that, so I'm the one that took my kids and broke up with her. And here I am. I'm going back, you know, so I can teach them, you know, how to be a man.
Cuz loosening up too. He loosening up too. He ain't being nervous no more.
Yeah,
that's good. You loosening up. That's good, man.
Yeah.
Cause my problem is that from our backgrounds, the moment that them cameras turn on, you clam up. You quiet. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't retract nothing. You can't say, man, you said it to the world now. Instead of like recording, it's like, man, listen, man. Well, it's this lit. It's bad, Chop. It's real life bad for me. I'm like, dang, man, cause I'm saying what I want to say in my head, but coming out, it's like, man, whoa. But the minute you turn this camera off, it was on and popping now. Now I can talk to you. Now it's like, and that's another thing that I learned as a kid. It's like, damn, I gotta get out of that mindset, cause I ain't there no more. But let's go back to that first question that you said. What led, you know, us to go down and make the decision that we did? Man, you gonna keep it real. In the 90s, 80s, in the 90s, early 2000s, man, what would glorify for real? A drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? Like a fly bull could pull up in a car You know what I mean? Pull up and then you get the baddest joints. You know what I'm saying? But the reason why I did it, it wasn't for the chicks. You know what I'm saying? The reason why I did it is for the money, the legacy. Man, this bloodline, man, my family name. I'm trying to make a name, like, because, you know, I wanted to do football bad. You know what I mean? I'm that guy doing it. And then I got taken away, you know what I mean, of that situation. And now that joint led me to spiraling out to resentment, you know what I mean, hatred. Now, all right, what's another thing I'm good at? I'm always good with making money quick. I'm good with my hands. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, all right, I already know for rumbling all the time. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, yo, how can I seen this boy had a pack on him and he flipping so quick, and I seen his wad of money. I'm like, oh, that gonna be me. I need that. I need every little bit of that.
I remember them days. I remember them days.
You remember? I need every little bit of that.
I remember them days.
And then some, and then that will lead to other side of the coin of, you know, shooting out, sparking out with people, because now it led to more so of, you know, pride and ego, and like I said, but family namesake. Man, Duff, you know what I mean? Because I understand Kinlaw got a name, and yeah, we got 1,000,001 people in our family, so I don't know all their last names, but the name Duff, I'm trying to have that name Duff ring. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to be a glorified street legend. And now I realized, and the sad part about it is that when I realized that what come along with the streets is prison or death, I accepted it at all costs. I signed up for it. And like I said on my Instagram, it was like all your life you would learn to earn a straight by, you know what I mean, cats in your life to go to jail or dead to earn a straight. You know what I mean? So I realized, man, that's stupid, man. You hustling backwards. You know what I'm saying? So, and then, yeah, man, that was stupid.
I got something. Remember you said, about, like, you the oldest child and everything? You know, I was the oldest child.
I ain't want the lights to go off either. I ain't want nothing.
Only time you see me one night stuff when you used to come get me and everything is because it was Desmond. And I mean, my mom was using my money, you know, my SSI, and of course he gave her money. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it was kind of a little hard, you know, being out there. She always supplied my sisters, sign them up for modeling classes. When I asked her to pay for Brookhaven Jets, guess who paid for that? Desmond. Desmond came down from Philly and paid for it. You know, why she ain't never do nothing for me? I raised my sisters while she went out clubbing. You know, I had to cook and then put her plate in the microwave and whatever so she can come home and eat. You know, it's a lot. You know, then you know, like I said, I was always out in them streets. She kind of like pushed me away. You know, and it wasn't just my dad. You know, my mom tried to push me. She did push me away. You know, and when there's something about money, then okay, you can come here. You know what I'm saying? That's how she is. You know, I never signed papers for my daughter Destiny. So I went to media and somebody forged my signature, you know, and it's a lot, you know, it's all about money, you know. So, like I said, let's get back to your story. We was out in them streets, you know what I mean? You had an opportunity, you know what I'm saying? You are a strong dad.
He was militant. He was militant. But,
get in position.
but the pop that you see today wasn't a pop that was like all of it. He grew up. Yeah. He learned how he is with my children. Yeah. That's golden key. That was golden key, because, man, my pops used to bump heads all the time. All the time. Couldn't be in a room with each other for, you got to be a short period of time, because if not, damn, you could bump in heads. You know what I'm saying? Argument, doing, all lashing out, all for, man, you remember Chop? This is to be stupid. And then, my bad, Chop, man. What? My apologies, man.
You were lashing out?
Fuck. Yeah, you was too. Well, hey, now.
Hey, what are you talking about?
Hey, now, hey.
What you talking about?
Hey, cause the days is like, it's like, what was I, like 15? You had me, 15. Wasn't it 15? When you said, hey, son, you put me to the table, and you had me pick out my casket, my suit, pick the funeral home that I want to go to. And all that, cause I'm at 15, cause my chops knew he wasn't a fool. He know what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? But not in total. You know the gist of what I was doing. You know what I'm saying?
I knew a lot what he was doing because I had connections inside the prison.
Yeah, man.
And I had connections in work release. You know, one thing about that, working in a prison, they always kept me up. They always looked out for me.
Yeah. See, I remember I went to Lima back when I was a juvenile. I was in Lima, and I wasn't allowed back in Chester, Pennsylvania. Had to go live with my dad. You know, I had to live in Delaware. And man, I got into it. He took me down the basement and put a gun up to my head because I was, you know, still going around there wearing a blue rag and everything. So I ain't proud of none of that stuff. You know, I look at
That's
that
a fact.
stuff. I am not proud of none of that
That's a fact.
stuff. You know, I just want to keep it moving forward. You know, put God first. Put God first, and you know, even though I grew up as a Christian, took my shahada, you know, and I'm a better person than back, you know, before then. You know what I'm saying? Even when I still believe in Jesus, you know.
You know, in the word, John say that you can't serve two masters, though.
I mean, see, I understand that, but like when Allah's mean God in Arabic, you know, not just, you know, we pray straight to God, you know, we still go through, you know what I'm saying, Jesus, you know what I'm saying. I believe all in the same thing. I still believe in God, you know. So.
But that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, that's a whole different topic.
That's a whole different topic.
And we already talked about that too.
Which we could break down. Your biggest struggle is going to be to continue to convince yourself that they're still the same. You're going to realize that. You're going to realize that because how was you raised?
Christian.
And
I still believe in Jesus.
But you're going to realize that he's more than just a great prophet.
Yeah, exactly.
And you was raised up, you knew that. Yeah. But it's going to take time to sit and to really have a dialogue about it. Before I gave my life to Christ, I had searched out Islam. So I understand about the Hadith. I understand about the Quran. I understand about the pilgrimages. I understand about all that. You know, doing salat and all that. I understood all of that. But I went deeper into research, into studies. And I began to realize there were some things that stood out that made Christ more significant, that stood out. Although, see, I had to research. The reason why I had to research, because there were some old heads around, and these people was hypocrites. Right. These people were not living righteous at all. And being in Sharon Hill and going down south, I seen a whole lot of hypocrites. And so I didn't really want God.
Hypocrite in what faith?
I didn't want God. I mean, I didn't want God at all because it's like, if I gotta be like y'all, I don't want God.
That's a fact.
But
I did the same way.
I learned the importance that I don't have to be like them. Just like I didn't have to be like my father. I didn't have to be like them. And so I realized that I have to make a decision here for eternity. Not just my present, but for eternity, I have to make a decision. And I realized some things that Jesus was so significant in that Muhammad could not do. Muhammad is not a savior. Jesus is the savior. That's the difference. A major difference that I realized that the blood of Jesus paid a price for all my sin. Muhammad didn't. Muhammad was just one that has set an example for others, and others picked up and followed his example and do as he done. But Jesus followed the example of God, and to being the Son of God, and then leaving a comforter as the Holy Spirit, in which Muhammad spoke of works, and works cannot get you into heaven, but understanding the blood being forgiven of all my sins is what's most important. So there's a difference in that, and that's what drew me into Christ. And when I came into Christ, it was no turning back.
Right.
I'm running. I've been running strong.
That's a fact.
You know, because I realized that if I'm going to make a difference in the lives of everyone I come in contact with, especially my father, I have to be Christ-like. And what happened with your grandfather is that when he come in contact with me and we come down there and we spend time together, it's like I'm mentoring him. And he's sitting there as the sunlight and I'm as the father. And we dialoguing. But I never make him feel as though he did any wrong. I love him as if he never done wrong. I'm there for him. He want to talk to me, ask for some marriage tips or how to deal with my siblings, different ones. He would talk to me and he would say, I'm proud of you. You never asked me for nothing.
Yo, your pop did a whole flip, man. He did in a good way. He did a whole flip in a good way. It's like before he passed away. Remember, me and him used to chat at least twice a month. Like
me too.
for
I used to call him.
what, like at least 6 years. You know what I'm saying? I still got his phone number in my phone that I ain't get to the point of deleting yet. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he did a whole different. And then the fact that he was like, "Yo, grandson, I'm sorry and I apologize." That I like, boy.
And that apology come from we dialoguing.
Yeah.
And he realized
facts.
that he apologized to me several times.
Facts.
And you know, but so that's when that come from. He now realizes that he's sorry for what he's done. You know, that was what he was taught. And the enemy assignment was to go ahead and to frustrate me so that I could become like him and like others like him. And then I would now have my children become like me. But I decided I didn't want to be like that, but I want to stop this and never give not a nephew or a child of mine the reason to be a man like that. I took a stance so that when y'all look at me, y'all see someone that took a stance for God and someone that loves y'all enough that he was willing to change, regardless of all the lies, regardless of all the rumors, regardless of all the negativity, that I took a stand to be the right example for y'all. And so that's what motivated me even the more to be a man. A man's man. And, you know, because I want better for y'all. That was so important. Right. I never want y'all to go out in the public and I embarrass the family. Because how, as Mikhail mentioned earlier about, he wanted the Duff name to run, but it was for the wrong reason.
Yeah, facts.
Wrong reason. But see, now I'm here because I want the Duff family name to reign, the Duff and Kinlaw family name to reign strong in a positive way. They're not known as, they're not going to remember me and know me as a whore. That's over with. They're going to know me and they see a man who changed, whose life was transformed, and a man that's living righteous. And that's what they see me as now. They don't see me as the old Mac, but they see me as Malcolm. They don't see me out there. But so that's why it's so important that we make these commitments and we are willing to have these dialogues to see the importance of why change is important and change is necessary if we desire to make a greater impact on other people's lives.
That sounds like what Duke said upstairs about Peter. We just said.
But no one knows what dukes mean at all.
Who know what dukes mean?
A lot of people don't know what dukes mean.
Mom.
Oh, okay.
That what she sounds. It seems similar.
Mom
like,
Dukes.
Yeah, Mom Dukes, like
Dukes.
upstairs.
Yeah,
but you talking about Peter? About the Peter, about what exactly was it? What are scriptures you used?
I wasn't listening.
Well,
I was talking to Desmond more.
Okay, it was like about when. Yo, can you go get her?
Can you put it in the phone? What did she say?
I think she said something about like he was I was listening to both, but like.
And I know I injected that say he was a cusser, and that was it because I heard Peter.
And because I slipped up, that's something I got a problem with too.
Because this is important. And if look, any questions, feel free. We here. Any questions, feel free now. Send those questions here. Because with all these struggles going on as men, and I may say with these struggles that many of us had to endure, I can say that we won. And what I mean by we won, that with dealing with the alienation, dealing with the abandonment, dealing with the frustration, dealing with being abused, dealing with all of those things, bad decision making, we're here today able to have this discussion.
Right.
And see, that's part of it that we got to learn to appreciate and thank God for, is because we are here to have these discussions and have this dialogue. And that lets us know that we are victorious. And when also, I want to piggyback back on some of that what you have shared also is that your mom. One thing that I realized, a woman can't raise a man like a man.
I understand that. Woman can't teach a man how to be a man.
Because a woman now, understand this, women, y'all can help. Y'all do help. Y'all do assist. But a man that's walking right is more effective in impacting a man or impacting a boy because they both have something in common, that they both are males. And so now that male could be a greater asset if he is living right. And that's why it's so important that you don't have just any old kind of males around your sons.
True.
Yeah, I hated that.
You cannot be having these different men around your sons, because you gotta protect your sons. You gotta protect your sons. You gotta protect them. You cannot have all these different men around them. One flavor of the month, there's another flavor of the month, there's another flavor of the month. You cannot be doing that because you're corrupting, you're demoralizing your sons. You can't do that.
Yeah, sorry for cutting
Go ahead,
you off.
go ahead.
I was abused by some of them. And I remember that's when my dad came there finally, and you know, because he hit my mom, you know what I mean? So I seen a lot growing up, and I was a little kid, so I look at it now. I'm move forward and think positive and do the best things in my life, you know.
Because these things are real, and if we don't want our seed experiencing that, then we got to do what's right. That's why my children can't say they see me fighting their mother.
No.
I seen domestic violence growing up. I seen a whole lot of it. A whole lot. And my dad ended up thanking me for when I personally jumped in front of the gun that was aimed to take him out. Because my mother got tired of that abuse. And she got tired of her sons being abused. Especially me. I always took the brunt of everything. And so if it wasn't for me jumping down the steps in front of the gun, he wouldn't have been here. And so he thanked me for that. And that's why it's so important that we learn to make decisions and start doing what we need to do so that we could be better, a better asset, better protection, that we do what we need to do. Because if we don't do what we need to do, then we're setting them up. And that's why we got to be protected. We cannot have all these different people around our children. We can't. And men, you can't have all these crazy women around your children. At all. If you have no attention. And before I was saved, I made a grave error. And I regret. But I never done that thing again. Because you got to think about the impact that you make on your children. You cannot be having your children around everybody. If you have no true intentions on being with that person, and if God told you not to be with that person and you forcing the relationship, and if you are sitting there knowing that person is not right and you still want to bring your kids around them, you setting your kids up for failure because you don't know what they would do to your children at any given time. You cannot do that. I don't care what you may be going through personally, you cannot have your children around everybody. Because you don't know what is it doing to them. They may smile in a moment, they may smile to please you, but you don't know what's going through that child's mind. That child could be battling on the inside because of this situation. If you have no true intentions and marrying that person, don't be bringing people around your children. And I know it's common today that, you know, kids, that's your uncle this week, then why is uncle in the bedroom with mommy? You know, kids see all these things. Kids see this. This person here supposed to be your uncle, but they sleep with my mommy. I mean, you got all kinds of stuff going on.
You got these girls out here that they call, this my brother right here.
And sleeping.
Yeah, sleeping. It's crazy. No disrespect, I've been with a couple girls that was like that. I'm like, I know y'all doing it. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't my type. I just move on. I move on.
So you have this, and that's why you gotta be very careful who you link up with. Very careful. You know, so but we see how these things happen, and these things are real. And many of you brothers out there, you can relate to what is being said here. Many of you could relate to it because you experienced it yourself. But you just kept it quiet and didn't tell nobody. But yet these things eat you up on the inside, that you find yourself drinking, you find yourself smoking, you find yourself pill popping, you find yourself doing other things that could get you jammed up because you don't know how to deal, talk, communicate about these situations. You know, so the woman must understand her position within the family. She got to protect her children. She got to protect her children.
All goes.
And she cannot just be leaving them children out there.
Yeah.
Because you got so many perverts out there, you don't know what's going to happen to them children. You have them out there. And that's why we must do what we need to do to protect them. And how do y'all feel about...
I'm about to ask you what's the next question. I'm about to go to a dark place. I don't want that. You know, I get to go. It's a wrap now.
How does it feel about... how do y'all feel about not being with your children mothers and knowing that those kids are where they're at, or where they at? How do y'all feel?
Man, I was hurt because I always told everybody, man, I never want to become a statistic, and then I became one. You know what I'm saying?
And what statistic is that?
Broken home.
Okay.
A fatherless home, like a motherless home. Either way, how you put it, I never wanted to be that. You know what I mean? I thought I was choosing the right person to have it with. And I'm grateful. I am grateful that she is the mother of my children. Let's get that out there. I am grateful, but the fact that that it didn't pan out, I was angry. I was like when we talk about forgiveness. Remember when we talk about forgiveness, man, it was hard for me to forgive her for that, because it's like, now who you gonna have around my children? You know what I'm saying? That's the major part. And my son was 3 years old, and nobody primed him for that. Nobody showed him. Nobody told him to say this. When I was watching him up, I just got done watching Princess up, laid her down. All right, now I got Junior. So me and him always have our own little time, we talk and vent, because I know a lot of young men, especially I did, like bottle things up. You know what I'm saying? So I almost at an early age. So I talked to him. I said, "What's up, man? How you feeling? What you doing?" And then he was just like, nothing. He just looked at me, gave me a kiss of phrase. He said, "Daddy, I love you." I said, "I love you too, man." And then he was like, "But Daddy, I like mommy and daddy together. Why you don't like mommy and daddy together?" At 3 years old. Wow. And I was just like dumbfounded about it, puzzled. You know what I'm saying? And then my heart just dropped. I mean, I was like, dang, man. So I had to tell him, I said, "Son, that was not Daddy playing." I'm saying, Daddy loved that picture, loved to have y'all like that, but that's not how it went. You know what I'm saying? That's not how the story go. I had to sum it up. I ain't want to tell you exactly what I was telling him and all that, but I had to sum it up. But at a young age, he asked me that at 3 years old. Asking that, and then that hit home. It hit me like, wow, man. And it's like, I felt like I dropped the ball. But, you know, because relationship take two, accountability. And it was like, yo, wow, man. Wow. Even though, yeah, I can't say that. But yeah.
How long y'all was together for?
Man, honestly, yo, bro. Person like me, man, for real, it's my defense mechanism. It's like, I can know you all my life. I could cut you off in a second like that. And all the feelings and everything I ever had for you is gone. Like, all the memories I ever had with you could be out the window. And I would tell you that each day would go by, it would go out the window. And, man, I had to think about it now. It's like...
You was about together for 7 years.
7 years. Well, I'm about to say 8 years, 7 years. 7 years engaged for almost a year, whatever. But nah, man, yeah, it was 7 years. Yeah.
See, Destiny, and Adriana, mom, I was married to her until like, what is like 90 days. You gotta get it filled out. But she had a ring and a bracelet and all. And things went bad, man. So, yeah, that broke my heart, you know. And then second baby mom, it was like 2 years, and it was like 2 years apiece. Then the last one is 10 years. So that really broke my heart, because she knew me when I was 22, and I'm 33 now. So, you know, I don't know what happened. You know, stayed working. You know, getting that SSD and everything, and I also was working. You know, as a cook, different jobs, Denny's and everything. Come home, bringing extra income to support my boys.
How do you feel not to be with them, or be with? Do you feel as though you should have just stuck with just one?
Well, one baby mom.
Yeah, with just one
My
woman.
first baby mom.
Yeah, or just.
You know, I wish it was all one. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? One family. You know, like my relationships was long. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, the last one is 10 years, I said, but then the first one was what, 5.5. Mine was just 6 years. Y'all already, you know my baby mom. So that was the one I lost everything with. You know what I'm saying? Virginity and everything. You know. Got teased in high school because I'm going to a hood high school.
She got him.
You know, because she's Caucasian and everything,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
getting
yeah.
teased. Oh, you got jungle fever. So, you know how many fights I had to get in that?
Yeah.
So, it was crazy growing up in there, you know. Went to Village Charter for a little bit. Then they stopped going to 12th. Then I had to get transferred to Chester High. Wasn't good, man. I mean, I graduated honor roll student. You know, thank God for somebody that been there, you know. Times I did bad, he said, you spoiling my name.
Yeah.
So
But
I graduated honor roll student. You know, my report cards, I can get them printed out right now.
But yo, to let you know how I feel not to be with my children's mother and stuff, heartbroken. Heartbroken.
Yeah.
Summing it all up for us and all that. Not to get off topic and all that. It's the heartbroken, disappointment, upset, disgusted. You know what I'm saying? And you start to become bitter, resentful. You know what I'm saying? Then once I learned how to forgive, and I truly did forgive, now it's like, it makes me walk on have more of a alertness now to whoever is gonna be my wife, my woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, now it got me on like more of a alert Asia, because I don't want to go down that path again. You dig? I don't want to go back down that path again. So.
And say, I asked that question because it's so important that as men we understand the damage that can occur if we feel some type of way. Now just imagine how the children feel as well.
Yeah.
There's things that they got to deal with, the trauma they got to deal with. And that is why as men, we got to be very quick not to fall for the outer beauty. But as men, we have to focus on the inner beauty of a person. And we have to learn to pray first before we link up with someone. Because if we pray first and God said that's the one, then we don't have to worry about that. When we have our ups and our downs, then we're able to work it out. But if we don't pray first and we just make a decision off of just how we feel or what we think, then we find ourselves in these situations like this. Because in prayer, that helps you identify the right woman, right, and all that. And so I was blessed to have the fact is that I grew up and I desired a family, and
Thanks.
I was able to identify the woman that stood out above all the other women. And she was so unique because she wasn't quick to give me what I wanted.
Yeah, Deuce was sturdy.
She stood back. She refrained. That let me know that there's something unique about her, because I usually had no problem with that.
Right.
I get what I want when I want it. But when I seen her make that stance, it was just like, no, So that stood out, and bells began to ring. Although I didn't even know God then, but I still prayed, but didn't know who I was praying to. But yet, it's still my prayer was answered, because here's someone that was unique and different than the rest, and someone I could see as being a mother of my children. And then I begin to realize things as I begin to grow and mature. I begin to realize that that's most important, that I want to be with someone that I know is mother material. And if she's mother material, then she ought to be wife material. Because I know what it's like not having my daddy present.
Yeah, that's a,
And I didn't want my children experiencing what I experienced. Because
that.
it's sometimes there's some kids that have their daddy in the house, but still the daddy is still absent. Because the dad is work, and the dad is not home. So there's some kids that have their father, but yet still don't have a daddy. And I could say that with my brother, Andrew, and Teen, they had my father there in the household, but yet they still didn't have my father. You know, so that's why it's so important that we make the right decisions. We pray first. We seek godly counsel and first, in that order that we have the right person in our lives. Because we don't want our children to repeat these same vicious cycles, get in an unhealthy relationship. Now, I do thank God for the children being healthy. I do thank God for that. But the responsibility now comes into play is that we got to make sure that we are in God's will and doing what we're supposed to do. Because when a child comes forward, it's not the child's fault that they're here.
Yeah.
It's the parents' responsibility now. Because it's the parents that lay down, call themselves having some fun because they want to be emotionally stimulated. And then now here it is, a child come forward. It's the parents' responsibility. It's the father and it's the mother job now to raise them children properly. If the relationship don't work, then now it's still the responsibility of that father to still be a father.
Right. Oh, for sure.
For sure.
Can't fail that duty.
And I'm like this here. I tell my sons, because it's only my two elder sons that have the children. I tell them, you know, they're putting some, making sure they spending that quality time. And they know that. They make that time. When they begin to overwork themselves, work, and want to do this and want to do that, I speak up because it's not about that. Because the children is not concerned about the dollar. The children are not concerned about the future. The children are more concerned about the now. And if you lose your children in the now, it's going to make it very difficult for you to be able to reach them in the future.
Right.
Because the children don't need to know you as a dollar. They need to know you as a parent, a loving father that's going to spend quality time with them.
That's true. But what do they want? They want this and want that. And that. They
got to learn how the importance of that, knowing the difference between your needs and your wants. And as I share with y'all, and as I share, I'm gonna share what I did with your nephews and your cousins. Your cousins. What I share with your cousins is that we would go out, and we would go riding, and then what I would do, we know it's time to get something to eat. I gave them a $2 limit.
Yeah.
We pull up the Wendy's. I gave them a $2 limit.
I think you did that back in.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
So
and then we
$2
work together,
limit.
make that joint.
$2 limit.
Right.
Because the $2 now it calls you to make decisions, your needs and your wants. So now I'm already going to get a drink from Wawa. I'm going to stop there and get a drink from Wawa, a gallon drink from there or Save-A-Lot. I'm going to get a gallon drink and I'm going to have cups. Now you could spend that $1 with a drink if you want to. Because you want to be impatient, you could spend that $1 right then. But then you're only going to get your fries or your sandwich. Yeah. But if you be patient and get your fries and your sandwich or 2 sandwiches or whatever you want, you get your combo there, then you know you're going to have your drink. So I was teaching them at a young age the difference between their needs and their wants. And see, that now that develop, that they just don't go spend money recklessly, but they count up the cost before they go spend money. And so that's what it's about. And I also told them that it's not about people pleasing.
Not at all.
You don't need all this and that. Some people hide behind stuff. But no, I raised them not to hide behind stuff. The name, don't let that name define who you are. You define your name. You define your name. No, it's not the clothes you wear. The name brands you wear, it's you. It's not the car you drive, it's you. You define the family name.
Right.
And so I raised them that way to understand the importance of living right. You know, so that's why it's so important that we learn to make these decisions and that we make sure that we train right and we teach right. Because we need to know these things. Because those children, imagine what them children deal with that they're not saying. Imagine what's going through their minds at the midnight hour, or dark moments, or moments when they just sitting there appearing as if they just daydreaming. What are they thinking about?
I be curious about that. I do be curious about that.
Right, right.
That's for real.
Because you got to think about the decisions that we make impacts their thoughts. And that's why we got to be very careful that we make the right decisions. But as men, we got to make the right decisions within ourselves. And that we got to first, before we look at a woman, we got to first look at ourselves. And ask ourselves, to be honest, am I prepared for a woman? Now that's deep.
Yeah, it is deep. When my second oldest daughter came up to me, and she was like, Dad, just concentrate on yourself. I don't want you with no girl right now. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take her advice.
But you know what? And that's good advice.
They be hot because when people want to always jump into a relationship and the next one, because they want to run from something and they never want to process to deal with themselves or process to deal with, all right, what do I really got to work on, yo? Like, and why do I keep going on the same path of it ain't working out?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people can't be alone either. You know what I'm saying? Because we ain't designed to be alone, but
it comes a time when we need to be alone.
You need to, for real. You need to, for real.
Yeah.
So you could dissect everything and then actually be true and honest with yourself. Because a lot of people be lying to themselves, man.
They do.
They be lying to themselves
They
for real.
do.
Like,
they do.
Man, you really ain't want that for real. Like you say, you talk a good game, but you really don't want it.
Or they really want it, but they wasn't prepared for it.
That's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
Because now you see how your daughter was giving you wisdom. Because let's be real, the family has a problem being alone. Many in the family cannot be alone.
What family? This family?
The Kinlaw family, the Duff family, many struggle with being alone for a certain period of time.
Yeah.
That's why you find individuals having these little flings here, a little fling there. Because they don't want to address themselves, or they force themselves to be in a relationship which they know is not going anywhere, but they force themselves knowing the relationship is dysfunctional. They force themselves to be into something, although it's not going anywhere, but they, as he said, they hype themselves up to believe it's going somewhere, but it's not going anywhere. Why? Because they're afraid to be alone.
I love my peace too much for that.
Or accept just anything. Accept anything. And if you take time to look at the family history, you see individuals accept this, accept that, accept this, accept that, just to have somebody. And we wonder why there's no peace. Wonder why there's so much dysfunction. There's wonder why there's no unity. Because when we just accept and accept and accept, we open the door up for dysfunction and manifest. And then how can we cry out we want unity when we are accepting dysfunction? We just can't do it. We can't. And that's why we have to look at ourselves and evaluate ourselves as men. And am I prepared for a woman? Am I prepared for a woman?
I like that. I like that.
Because I always said this. I never raised my children to be a misfit or dysfunctional in the relationship with somebody else. I never raised my children for that. My children are not. I would never marry my children in a dysfunctional relationship. If they not right, I won't marry them.
That's a fact.
I won't marry them. They're my seed. I won't marry them. I won't marry none of y'all. If I know there's dysfunction, I won't do it. Because I only will marry what I know is going to be successful. Because I know that both parties worked on themselves. If you're not willing to work on yourself and be prepared within yourself, I can't do it. I can't do it. Because I refuse to mess somebody else up. There's lift yours up. I refuse to do that and cause a dysfunction. I refuse to do that. I refuse to say, that's my child, or that's my family member, or that's somebody I know. I married them. Each person I marry, I have to know from God that that's the right one. But you as a person need to know that you're the right one. You got to know that you are equipped to love that woman properly. See, it's not about a car. See, Mikhail has his own home. Mikhail has his car. Mikhail is very independent. Mikhail is a master barber. And he has another full-time job. That stuff means nothing really to me.
Facts. Facts.
You know, a lot of parents get joy. My son this, my son that, my daughter this, my daughter that. That don't move me. What moves me is knowing that he is the man that God purposed him to be and if he's going to be that man that God purposed him to be, I know he'll be the best husband, he'll be the best father, he'll be the best son. And I know that what he has, it will manifest to be greater because he put God first.
Yes, sir.
That's more important to me than anything. All those accolades don't mean nothing to me. Those accomplishments mean nothing to me. What him being a man of God, him being a reflection of God is far more important to me than anything else. Because if he does that, then I know he's going to role model for you. He's going to role model for his children. He's going to role model for everyone he come in contact with. That's more important to me than anything else.
Right. Understandable.
And so that's why we have to do these self-reflections. We have to look at ourselves. And on the real, we need to spend more time with ourselves to know who we are.
Yeah.
Because how can you help someone else that's struggling when you need help yourself?
The wounded gonna help the wounded.
Right.
It ain't gonna help.
It's not going to help. It's not going to work.
Ain't gonna work.
It's not going to work at all. And then you sit there and argue at each other. And then you sit there and say, well, you said this. Well, you said that. Well, you did this. You did that. You're both sitting there going nowhere. You're sitting there just rattling your mouths, rattling at each other and not going nowhere.
And I ain't in the business of repeating myself neither. If I said it once to you, and then you told me about that, man, sometimes you guys just say it again.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, listen, I'm not gonna keep going over and over again. We ain't doing that. We ain't playing Uno.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Reverse. We not doing that. No. Mm-mm.
And see, and that's why I believe in meeting. I want to know who they dealing with. That's important. I want to know about them. I want to know about y'all. The more y'all communicate with me, the better I can help. But when you isolate, then you're doing what the devil wants you to do.
Yeah.
And that is keep you away. Because as a man, I know I have what's necessary for young men to become the man. I know what it takes to transfer a boy to a man. I know what it takes. So when you isolate yourself, when you're quiet, don't say nothing. When you hide and run, although many times I already know what's going on, but you run, then how can I help you? Because I can't force myself on you because God don't force himself on nobody. But when we make ourselves available to him, then that's when he does the work. That's the same way I have to operate as a man.
But most people flee from from the right source, from the help.
They do.
They flee from the help because they love being in dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
They don't, a lot of people want to talk and vent just to vent with no solution to it.
Mm-hmm.
For real. And knowing that, this is my help right here, but yet I'm gonna go over here and do this because they're not going to, I could just say anything to this person and then they're just going to agree with it. You know what I'm saying? They're just going to stroke my ego. You know what I'm saying? Instead of going to this person over here and realize, hey, this is the area no, they ain't working.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't been working and it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So this is what you had to correct.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Because that's important. What kind of people you surround yourself with? What kind of men you surround yourself with? Now, when you in the street, well, let's be honest, when we was in the street, we hung around people that was like-minded. If you thought different, we didn't deal with you like that because we only want to deal with people that thinks like us because we know they knew the game. We knew they knew what was going on. But it's same thing when it comes down when you wanting better with your life, when you want to live a life, a victorious life, then you got to get around people that are victorious and then allow them to help you and groom you to be the man that you're supposed to be. So we cannot just hang around just anybody and everybody.
because in the streets, the reason why we hang out with people that like-minded, because your folks is really a reflection of you, for real.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm out there, if you a dude who, like, you allow another man to treat you any type of way, you can't be around me, man, at all. Because you got to hold yourself to a certain stature. You dig? Like, no way in the world, man, should come over here and be like, come over here and be out here and instead of be drinking in Arizona or something, and he gonna snatch your joint and snatch the jewelry and walk off. What the? Huh? Where they do that at? We ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? But all gotta be like-minded people, cause it's a reflection of you.
See, go ahead.
I'm gonna be honest. You know, I grew up in the city, but I'm more of a country boy now. I enjoy fishing and deer hunting and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's me,
squirrel
yeah.
and stuff now.
Cause it's
You know
peaceful.
what I mean?
It's peaceful.
It's peaceful. I ain't gotta watch my back.
You around chaos
Yeah.
the whole time. So now,
Exactly.
I just want peace.
Yeah, and it
You know
took
what
a
I
long
mean?
time for me to adapt because when I
Yeah.
first moved there, I was a little rough, you know, hanging out with people out there and knocking people out. I did that because I ain't trust nobody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why she looking at me? You
I
know what I'm
remember
saying?
we were in Middletown. Moved there. I'm walking around, man. I really hearing bird chirping and all that stuff. I'm looking around, walking. I'm like, I'm walking, it's walking, and I'm used to hearing noises all the time, sirens and all that. Like, people like being in town. It's like that was my comfort zone. Like being in town, like I'm cool. Like I'm straight because the streets talk. But now it's quiet.
It's quiet.
Now it's quiet. Now it's like what? Like I'm thinking that's chaos in my head because you're not used to silence, solitude. You know what I'm saying? That's important. And now I transition. Now it's like that's what I want now.
Yeah,
like
that's-
fishing wise, dang, that's what I want. That's different. I love that. I always love fishing. But now it's like now moving to a place where I could raise my children that they don't gotta be so used to hearing sirens going on or hearing cars bumping all the time or hearing people doing hand in hand like
Yeah, I
just
can't-
wilding like that ain't cool. Like hold on, man.
I'm not used to where my environment when I can't go back to that kind of way, man.
Unlock your poverty mindset to greater wealth.
Yeah.
Why not do that?
And the greatest wealth that many people miss, it is the wealth of the Word of God.
That's a fact.
That is the great. That book of Proverbs is book of wisdom that will guide you and direct you and order your steps. That you won't repeat the negative things that you once used to do. And, you know, our environments needs to change sometime. And then, you know, also that we got to get strong enough that when we return to that environment, we make a difference and we won't blend in. And, you know, so we have to do that because as men, we have to make a difference. We have to make a difference. We have more men incarcerated. We have more men dying. We have more men being aborted. We need to make a difference with the lives of those that's present. And we have a great deal of men getting involved in homosexuality.
Huh?
We have a great deal of men getting involved in homosexuality.
Yo, I ain't expect to hear
We
that.
it's a fact.
Yeah.
We have more men that becoming effeminate, having those female ways, female tendencies, and some of them are being catered by their mothers. And some of their fathers are supporting them doing the exact same thing.
Well, that's
so
the
now,
agenda. That's the agenda of the day.
now we have a problem going on. And that's why it's so important that we make a difference and impact in our young men's lives. Because it's our responsibility as men to teach them how to be men. Now I don't support that in no way, because God don't support it. What God supports, I support. What God dislike, I dislike. Because that's the way I am. I live my life according to the Word of God. But we have to take a look at that because we got too many women trying to raise boys. And we have to do that. We have to step in and we got to make sure that we're playing our part. That goes back to knowing ourselves. We have to know ourselves and we have to start being that reflection of a man that we want these other young men to be like. We cannot be abusers. Because we experience abuse don't mean we abuse them.
Okay.
Because abuse runs them to another direction. And what happens that now they feel vulnerable. Now another male will recognize that, and that male may appear to be down low or up high, but he will now sit there and see that individual as a victim and then a prey, and he will come in and move in. And that's why we have to be very mindful that we raise our young men properly.
Man, they got today, message today as being masculine, as being toxic.
It's toxic.
It's toxic, like, no.
But who is doing that?
Who doing society?
Society is doing
Society
that,
is doing it.
along with the music industry. And which much those that y'all see in the music, we find out that much of them in the music, they are sleeping with other men in order to get up. Fame, fortune. So that's why we must learn to understand the importance of it. We have to be men. We don't have time to be boys. We don't have time to say, well, God's going to do this, God's going to do that. We don't got time to sit there and say, well, this person going to do this, well, they got that person. But we have to take personal responsibility and make sure that we are being the men that we're supposed to be. Because God's not going to do it. We have to do it. God gave us the wisdom to do it, but we must operate here on earth and do what's necessary. We must do it. See, the accountability and responsibility falls back on us.
Yeah.
It's not God. God gave us wisdom, but the responsibility for us to role model and speak life into our men is our responsibility. And so if we want to stop them from being that way, going that direction, and we got to teach them. We got to be involved in the school system. We need to be involved in every aspect of life. It's not about the woman do this and do that. No,
Right.
we got to be involved. When y'all was younger, it was me going to schools.
Yeah.
I didn't want my wife, your aunt doing that, your mother doing that. I wanted to step in there. So I made the male presence by popping up at any given time to see what was going on.
Man, I remember I was a young boy. My mama and pops had their own attendants in my classroom. For real. Seriously. They really had their own attendants. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I was out,
Kept
man.
record?
Huh?
Kept records?
Man, listen, man. Because they always got some type of call back from the school. Always something going on. Oh, your son this and son that. Mom pop up. Pops pop up. He did this ever since we was children. No, ever since we was, I remember the most popped out of my head, Miss Campbell class at Toby Farms. That's when woo.
Because
I loved
father,
it. I liked it though. But
Yeah.
then it kept me surprised because I'm like, yo, you always keep it on your toes because he would never let you know when he coming. You know what I'm saying? And he's pop up. And even if you're in the middle of doing something, he caught you in the middle of the act. So now what you gonna do? Man, a few times you had to go in that bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Go in that hallway.
Yeah, because I never, my thing was I never allowed the prison system to raise my children. I'm going to raise my children.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play a part in their life. I'm not going to put on another man. I'm not going to put on the system. I'm going to do my job as a man, and I'm going to raise my children the way I'm supposed to raise my children. And, and how I learned that is by spending time with the Word of God, taught me that being militant is not the answer, but being compassionate, being understanding, speaking with wisdom, that taught me how to do that. Because the military had me, I was the strict. But I began to learn, have a different dialogue. And I began to start seeing some things. Because as a father, and y'all...
And you talk to each child differently, too.
Yeah, I talk to each one different.
Yeah.
And y'all may experience this, too, is that, you're going to encounter some things from your child that's going to hurt you. And then how are you going to deal with that? How are you going to deal with that when you get information about something about your child? How are you going to feel? How are you going to address that? And so when you see your child repeat something that you once done, how are you going to handle that? And you may got free from that situation, but they may not be able to handle it the way you handle it.
Right.
So we got to think about those things, and that's why we got to make sure that we're making the greatest impact. We have a question here. What one thing you can share to a young man or a young boy that will help them make the right decisions in their lives? What one thing that you can share to a young man or a young boy that will help them make the right decisions in their life?
Be different. Don't follow the crowd.
Right.
Stand out. And stand on,
Stay in school.
definitely stay in school. But, don't follow the crowd at all, yo. Do not follow the crowd, because what they deem is cool, really ain't cool. So start your own lane. Be in your own lane. Be comfortable with you. Link up with people that with older men that gonna guide you in the right direction. That wants better for you. That's where it starts at. But definitely stay in your own lane. Don't try to fit in. Don't try to talk like these people. Don't try to dress like these people. Don't try to do what they do, cause young boy, you ain't built for it. You ain't built for it. So yeah, definitely stay in your lane.
I could say one thing: the young fellas in school these days, you know, they're so scared to be called nerd and everything.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But
I realize that's the one that gonna give you one to get.
huh? Yeah, that's the one that's gonna get you the money. You know, then you got these ghetto other kids. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's so hard because the girls go after the people that's they're riding dirt bikes and everything. Oh, he got nice shoes. He on a dirt bike, but you know, like I said, stay in school and do the positive things.
Mm-hmm. Because that's good wisdom. Stay in school, get your education. Also, stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. Man.
That's some good wisdom
Stay
that you
in
can
your
give to
lane.
them, and surround yourself around people that are mature. Mature. I said mature instead of older, because there's a lot of guys that are older and they still think like boys.
They boys though. They boys.
Because a boy neglects his family. A boy neglects his seed. A boy neglects responsibility. A boy makes excuses. A boy play victim. That's a boy. But a man accept accountability and responsibility, and things is not right, then he steps up and do what's necessary in order to make sure things are right. That's a man.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
they don't make excuses at all. And so that's what we have to put ourselves in that position there. So how about this question here that I want to propose as well. We have a father that struggles reaching his son. What could be some advice you could give to that father?
Trying to be more understanding. Trying to understand and see what area exactly what it is, and what's the core issue, what it is, and instead of talk to your child, don't talk at him. Don't always jabbing and pointing a finger, but son, you see you did that. That's never going to reach. Be that for sure show compassion, and just listen to him, and then just have open dialogue. That's where you could actually reach them at. With no hold bars, but keep it respectful though. With no hold bars for real. Keep it respectful. You know what I'm saying, for real. But had an open talk. Just talk. You can't reach him. All right, what area is on? Why is he doing this? Like, find a core reason on why he doing it. That's that's the best I can tell you. Because you can't force no young boy to do anything that he don't want to do. Because how old is this young boy in this situation?
Any age.
Any age? It's easier when they're younger. It's easier when they're younger, like junior age and all that, all up until from 12 now until adolescent ages until the teens. He already experiencing some things. He or she is already experiencing some things with the peers, you know what I mean, society, overall society, in-house, and internally within themselves. So it's so many different avenues to go reach your child, but actually have them just talk and they understand, hey, yo, start early and saying, hey, yo, daddy or mommy, or since it's men, daddy is a safe place. You know what I'm saying? So however you feeling, you come and talk to me. Be vulnerable with me. Talk, because as a man, we ain't really taught to be vulnerable at all. So
Right.
come and talk to me, son. Or come and talk to me, daughter. What's going on? How you feeling? You know what I'm saying? So eventually, it's like with concrete. That drop of water keep hitting it. Eventually, that foundation gonna crack. So start off strong and stay strong. Be consistent. You know what I'm saying? And then have dialogue. Just it's all communication, talking, just talking, not yelling, shouting. Actually talk, and then once your child says something to you, now pause. Now repeat what they said to him, to you. Hey, son or daughter, you said this, boom, boom. All right, what do you mean by that? All right, at this particular moment or pivot, how did that make you feel? You know what I'm saying? So then you gonna get a better understanding of the kid. Because not everybody gonna be open up and talk to you, especially never presented that safe space to do it. So it's all start with you.
I mean, I got the same thing about what he just said, like about sitting down. No, I do forgive my dad. You know, my biological dad. You know, remember he told me to go around there. I was kind of a little shy, but maybe I should though. You know, had that little talk with him. You know, family time. I mean, we ain't promised tomorrow. You know, everybody dying these days. You know, coronavirus and different stuff is. I think we living in our the last days. So I think we all should just get together and one as a family.
So go back to what he's saying, have open dialogue.
Have open dialogue. Yeah.
But one of the things that I feel as though is necessary, when I encountered my father, my mom was there, my mom Ophelia was there, and as well my mother was there. My wife was there. I'm sorry, my wife was there. Because I want to create an environment where it will be no back and forth, but it'll be just a dialogue. When you go, you have to have someone, just say for someone like myself or someone like Mikhail present, to be with you so you can have this open dialogue without any negativity. Otherwise, someone that will help keep the atmosphere balanced, that there won't be no finger pointing, attacking, and all those type of things like that. Hands on, but because that's unnecessary.
They ain't gonna fly.
And that is you're an unfit parent or an unfit child when you feel as though that you have to go hands on when you're there to communicate. That's ridiculous. So those things need to be addressed. So the advice is you got to have somebody present to be there, because you want to keep the atmosphere proper, and you want to focus on what's most important is that you're able to express yourself and you're able to hear him express himself. In the midst of that, you'll be able to identify the truth. And that's what's important. And then you're able to just present forgiveness and move forward from there. Because true forgiveness is that you both move on with your life as if this never happened before, but yet you do the right thing now. And and that's what's important right there. And I hope someone got some good information, because that's from the young perspective. That's from their mind. That's from these young men's minds right there. They're sharing with you on how you fathers that are older, how to communicate with your sons. It's so important that you take the time out to do just that. I see here we have another question is, what's one thing that you can say to help a young person with forgiving the person who hurt them? What one thing that you can say to help a young person with forgiving the person who hurt them?
Took a lot for me. It took a lot for me. Took a lot for me to swallow.
What it took you to do that?
What took me to do that? Had to be just willing to be okay to be like, hey, yo, man. People makes mistakes. Can they understand that? And what took me to do that, honestly, John, got tired of being in it, feeling this type of way. Tired of feeling like angry, irritated, upset. So, and you gotta make your mind up and actually want to do it. Actually, truly do it. Like, don't try to do it, because like you told me when I was a young boy, try me and attempt to fail. You know what I mean? Do it. So, and I did it, and multiple times I did it, and it's like it's a big relief, but boy, it was hard because your flesh for real, you're gonna tell you, man, no, don't do that. Nah, man, forget them for real. Like and really mean it and stand on it, because it's easier to say, man, forget you and move on. I'll just cut you off and go. But what if you can't? Now, for real, like, that person who hurts you, what if you can't cut them on? You can't cut them off. Period. Because you share the same blood, or now you got children. Like, what if you can't? You can't just cut them off. So now you're back against the wall. So now you got to cut down ego. Now you got to cut down pride. Now you got to cut down feeling as though, man, you've been disrespecting. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, expect me to do it like me, man. I'm big on respect. I don't like nobody handling me any type of way. I don't care who you is. Don't do that. Respect at all costs. I'm gonna respect you. And yeah, really just do it. That's all it is. It's really just do it and crucify your flesh, man. Cause your flesh gonna tell you, man, no, forget it, and go on. But just genuinely do that.
And so, and is yours piggybacking off what you said, just going forward and having a conversation?
Yes. I mean, like, like I'm more of a respectful man now, and I used to be buck wild. Everybody know that.
Yeah.
I used to be buck wild, and that stuff ain't. I'm more of a lover now. A family man. Like I had my 2 boys. I had Adriana there. In Watertown, New York.
But you said you was buck wild.
No, I'm talking about back in the day.
No. I'm saying you was past tense, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But one thing I can say, that you never was like that around me.
Not at all.
I'm talking about like reason why I went to like crisis or back when I was younger, and
Right, but I'm saying at
Like
any
you saying.
given time,
yeah.
you was never like that around me.
Because you gave me attention, I needed that attention. I was busy over there, on the weekends, how I was, or the weekdays. I was like, you showed me.
What was
more
about
discipline.
your Uncle Mac, man? What was about your Uncle Mac that made you, when you around him, man, you tighten up, or when you around him, you didn't have them thoughts in your head about anything? What was about Uncle Mac that got you like that?
Uncle Matt was like a father figure to me. I'm be honest, what I'm
Yeah.
saying, even though it's my uncle, and I only seen Desmond on Saturdays and Sundays. He come pick me up Friday, but the discipline, and he showed me love. You know what I'm saying? So I got a lot of attention about him.
Yeah.
I just wish that I had you more.
Understand?
I do wish I had you more, because I'm the type that I believe that the more touches I have on a person's life, the greater impact that I can make. And I wish that there wasn't so much division that was inputted in between all of this, because I believe that there are some things you experience you will never have to experience.
Right.
If you had more of that attention, more of that love, more of that support around, and more around the family.
Because he yearned for family.
Because
That one John Balboa, he definitely yearned for family.
and we had you, and because that's why I didn't mind when you wanted to stay the night. I didn't mind that at all. I always embraced that, because you come, but I understand that there was other things you had to watch, your siblings and all of that stuff. But I preferred you being away from them and being around the boys. Because I know that that's to be the greatest impact that could be made is now you around a man and you're around some boys.
Right.
And and you have that influence, you have that nucleus around you. That's what I desire, because I know that could have made a greater impact on your life. Because when you was around us, you always seen stability.
Yeah.
You seen stability. You seen me and your aunt together. You seen stability. You seen us as a family. And that's what I always desire for every one of y'all, to see just that. And I believe that if more of the touches was made, with the greater influence that I as a man was able to make on your life.
Right.
And and that's why it's so important that we make decisions today that will put us in that position so that we can make a greater impact on people's lives. That's important right there. So I appreciate y'all dialoguing, and I want to see and share that there's other questions out there that anyone may have for us. I pray that we had helped someone out there. But as we close, I want you to, what's some closing words and some advice, because we touched on a few things. We touched on dealing with ourselves, We touched on choosing the right woman, having the right relationships, role modeling. We taught forgiveness. We touched on taking accountability and responsibility. We touched on of those things and having good communication, open dialogue. We touched on all those things right there. And and we also, what I love to hear, that we went from our past and we spoke on our future, which is very significant. So because we cannot be locked in on our past, because our past will cripple us. Our past will keep us stuck. Our mind is corrupt. But when we look past that and we look towards our future and realize how bright our future can be and how blessed we are to even have this moment in our present, life is much better. And so we was able to hit on all of those things right there during this time. But I want you each to have some closing words that you may have, that words of advice, what you got out of this, or speak to a young man, or speak to a father. Whatever you may have on your heart. I want you to take this moment to do just that.
So you started off with me.
Either one, whoever desired to.
Man, closing remarks, fellas, get in your home, man, tighten it up. If you married, love your wife. If you engaged, love your fiance. If you got children, love your children. Stay a unit, man, a healthy unit. Conversate. For sure, get into the Word of God, the living Word. That's number one for real. And then everything else is going to fall into place. And the other closing remark is, Chops, thank you for you being you. And thank you for surprising us with this joint right here. Because I ain't really was prepared, because we didn't know what we were going to be talking about. For real. You know what I'm saying? Me and him was riding, he was like, yo, what we don't come back and want to talk about? I said, man, bro, I don't know. So when I text you, that's when I found out too. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for having this, for real. And hopefully this help somebody out. And if you want like a part 2 or whatever, then we could do that too. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, men, because we need to hear the household. Man, we all got to set better examples, including myself. And operate with wisdom. That's it.
Okay, good.
He's doing everything, man.
Good.
All right, think of something. I say, young fellas out there, and grown men, treat your woman, like a queen. All this, the streets is bad out there, so America need to wake up, especially some cities out here. America need to wake up, and even women need to wake up.
Oh, for sure.
Women need to wake up too. It ain't just the men. They be like, oh, I can't. It's hard to find a nice guy. And you got some good guys out there. You know what I'm saying? But treat your man as a king. The men treat your woman as a queen. So, and teach these young fellas out here. All this violent stuff ain't. It's not good. Be a family person.
Amen. Awesome. So we just appreciate each and every one of you for this time, this moment. You could have been doing anything and everything that you desire to do, but yet you just decided to be here, which is great. Wait a minute. In the closing, I got a question here. Do you agree closure helps the process of forgiveness?
Closure?
Yes.
Closure help with the process of forgiveness?
Mm-hmm.
You got closure on this. Well, sometimes it's a yay and a nay. I believe yes.
How about this? Whoever wrote that question, can you elaborate please on what you mean by closure?
Mm-hmm.
On what you mean by that. Do you agree with closure helps with the process of forgiveness? what do you mean? We could go by what we mean with that, but what do
Yeah.
you mean by that?
Good.
Closure.
Because some people could be asking questions that person not even equipped to even answer. For real. So I want closure. I want to know why. But what if that person ain't here? What if that person deceased?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So what type of closure are you looking for? So, and then, all right, let's go to the person who did hurt us, whatever, doing for closure. Let's try to get some type of closure. But what that person don't even know the reason why they did what they did. So I want to know what scenario you talking about. So,
Yeah, hopefully that person will respond, because one thing I learned about I don't never want to assume.
Yeah.
I know previously before we came down, we was conversating, and I was conversating with Desmond. That I heard you and your mom conversating.
Yeah.
That I jumped in, and then I said I apologize, because who are you talking about? Because I'm great giving information, and I was all wrong because I didn't really know who the conversation was about. You know, but you want to make sure that we are on point when we're responding right there, because we want to know, what do you mean by, just break it down, what do you mean by closure to you? Just break this question down a little more so that it could be explained very clearly by these gentlemen
But-
before I give insight.
What if, like, for example, right, you want to come to me for closure, right, but I leave you on a cliffhanger. You know what I'm saying? As a closure. So now it could be intriguing more, enticing more, but like, dang, what you mean by that?
But no, but it's good though, because when we get in forgiveness is not for that person, it's for us. So regardless of what that person may feel or say, as long as we put it on the table and we truly forgive, it doesn't matter about that other person, how they feel. Because forgiveness, we cannot force someone to accept our forgiveness. But we can be sincere when we tell someone, please forgive me. I forgive you. And we truly mean that. For years, my father struggled for years with me saying that I forgive him. And I said, Dad, I forgive you. I said, this is my approach that I approached my father. And I remember down on Kinlaw Lane, I said, Dad, if I've done any wrong, if I offended you in any way, forgive me. And my father's response was, you never done wrong to me. I done wrong to you.
Yeah.
I never made him feel some kind of way, but he said, no, I done the wrong. And, you know, and I forgave my father, but it took time for him to forgive himself. He had to keep saying it over and over again, forgive me, apologizing. But I had to let him know that I've been forgave you. I just desire that you forgive yourself. I've been forgave you. You can say it 100 times, but that I've been forgave you.
So was that your closure moment right there?
See, I can say,
That was my forgiveness moment. No, my closure moment was when I first said it. That was mine when I first said it. And you
I
know,
think closure could. Then yeah, the answer is yes then.
you know, so closure is closure. You gonna say something?
no, I was about to say, I do forget, like I said, I do forgive my father, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and like I want things to work, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm more of a family man, you know, and I'm into God, you know, so I believe everything, just like Jesus did, forgave. So that's how I am.
And that, I believe that will manifest even the more. The more you continue to communicate with you, the more you begin to see and hear as God desires you to, you find yourself becoming more free. Free, and I always tell them, and I tell folks all the time, time tells everything.
Understand?
Because when you stop rehashing stuff, you know forgiveness, true forgiveness manifested.
Right.
When a person can say something that don't trigger you to go off, then you know true forgiveness manifested.
That's a fact.
That's true forgiveness. And see, forgiveness occurs before closure.
Man, that's a big hurdle, man.
But
That forgiveness is something, boy.
But forgiveness,
Listen.
it don't say you'll forget it. You don't
You'll
remember
forget.
it. But
Yeah.
forgiveness occurs before closure?
I
You
look
gotta
at it.
do it.
I became a better person than what I was.
Mm-hmm.
So I could say he made me stronger.
Mhm.
It took a long time. I was busy out in crisis and Crozier Hospital. You don't remember that?
You was doing you,
Yeah. I was.
and a lot of your past uh, dictated and played a part because there was a lot of traumatic experiences that you endured
Right.
that contributed to everything.
hmm
So that's what.
And no decisions.
So the closure, more clarity to that. I tell you, that's why we'll do a part. I'm glad you mentioned about the part two. We definitely do a part two. This is a question. It's a closure. Getting a true understanding of what led to why the person hurt you.
Oh yeah, then yeah, for sure, yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That means something.
Yeah, that means
That's necessary.
yeah, that's necessary. That's done.
So you're saying closure, getting and true understanding of what led to why that person hurt you, is very important.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why you hurt? Like why they hurt you? Like.
Well, who this person? That's another thing. Who this person? Like, for example, like a parent or like someone you like to look up to, you had them at like
It
a high
could
regard.
be you and your father. It could be with anybody.
Oh yeah, but not just anybody. Because if it's a stranger or somebody who I hold no type significance in my life, then no, I don't need no closure. I could forgive you and just never got to talk to you again.
Mm-hmm.
Be cool off that. But now if it's a loved one, it's harder. I don't know why it's like that, but for most people, it's harder to forget somebody that you love, a loved one, than a stranger, because a stranger, that boy don't owe you. They don't owe you nothing. But your loved one, your expectations, you know what I mean, will come in and cloud that and make it seem as if it is harder, but it really should be even. But with that, and then they give you the explanation on that, then yeah, that's needed. That's cool.
Well, someone commented and said in a comment, it can help both, but it's both the key, not the main ingredient. It can help, but it's not the main ingredient. It can
Closure?
help, yes. It can help, but it's not
Yeah.
the main ingredient.
Well, you just said starts at forgiveness,
Mhm.
and then the closure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can work hand in hand.
Yeah,
They can work hand in hand.
Yeah, because I believe that forgiveness is the most important.
Like gumbo.
Because because forgiveness will cause you to forgive. Forgiveness will cause you to have closure. But even if there was no closure, forgiveness still trump closure.
Yeah.
Forgiveness still trump with someone that's deceased. I learned to forgive that person, even though that person was deceased. I learned to forgive. And
What got you to that point, though, Chop?
because the fact is that why should I hold on and give that person space to rent in my head or to control my destiny when I have to forgive people regardless if they present or not? I have to forgive them. If I expect Christ to forgive me of my sins, I have to forgive that individual. I got to forgive. I don't need closure. The closure part is knowing that God forgiven me because I repented and I forgive that person.
I'm talking about getting to the point that you could just forgive and forgive.
Because the
And
Bible
forgive,
tells me
boy.
to forgive
How many
7
times a day?
times 70.
Yeah.
In a day. So
I'm talking about how you got like that. Like,
because
immediately.
I've take the word of God and I have to forgive. The word of God become my plumb line. It drives me. It motivates me. It leads me. It orders my steps. So I have to live according to the word of God. I cannot live to my emotions. I cannot live off my experiences, but I must live off the word of God. And I must forgive. As Christ forgave me of all the sin I committed, I must forgive every single person.
Man, forgiveness is like, to me, for you, man, forgiveness is like currency, man. You know how much money they make a day? They use to flush out. Boy, that's different. That's a whole different level, man.
See, that's when you love God so much that you're willing to obey his word to the full extent, and that you love people so much that you're willing to demonstrate to them what true forgiveness is, that you hold no resentment towards them or what they've done to you. And there's many things that have been done to me, but yet many people cannot see the wounds on me or the scars on my back, because forgiveness heals all. True forgiveness heals all.
Right.
So, so who was the number one person that you had to forgive? The number one.
My father.
Your father was your number one. Which one was the hardest to forgive?
First was my father, because my hatred toward my father propelled me to be a role model student in school, and to always to go out, and after I get out of school, to be the best man that I could be, because I always wanted to prove to him that I could be a better man, that I am a better man, without him being in my presence. But all along, I was a man desiring my father to be in my life.
That's deep. That's deep, bro. That's deep.
I desired that man to be in my life. I wanted my father to be there. My father never attended my high school graduation. He never attended a prom that I attended. He never attended my college graduation. He didn't even attend my wedding. But yet I still was a man that yearned for my father love and affection. And through it all, I still forgave that man as if he never done wrong to me.
Man, I appreciate you being my pops, yo. Real rat chop. Cause understand this. Cause if you would have did what I did, man, listen, man, it'd have panned out differently.
Yeah.
No, but I'm grateful. That's deep.
That's deep.
Cause boy, I'm grateful. I'm grateful, man. For real, for real.
Yeah, that's what I did. So I know there's power in forgiveness, and that freed me to be the best uncle, to be the best father, to be the best husband, because I got free from that very thing that was trying to hinder me from becoming whom God purposed me to be.
I got another question for you though. I know we gotta go and all that. I mean, do you feel as though that you feel like you should have did it earlier? Or was at the right time?
No, I wish I would have done it earlier, but I didn't know how to.
How far you was in your Christian walk?
I just got saved.
28.
Yes, I just got saved. I can say I just got saved. I was in between 27, 28.
So when you had that discussion with your pops?
Immediately after my uncle Von left, he stopped on his way from Connecticut. He stopped by. He had a habit of always stopping by and seeing us.
Yeah.
He came by, and when I went outside, I walked into the car. He told me, in order for you to be the man that God called and purposed you to be, you gave your life to Christ. I'm proud of you. But what you need to do now is forgive your father. This is the same man my father did not speak to many a times, although they brothers, but did not communicate with. But yet, it was so important for him to tell me, you must forgive your father.
Yes, when I was drunk?
Nope.
No.
Nope. And he got delivered from all of that. And he shared these things. And that was one of the greatest impacts on my life before his passing, was that he stopped by and told me I must forgive. And in the middle of the street, middle of West 21st Street, I broke down crying. Because now he took away that very thing that I was using, that anger that was pushing me.
Yeah, that battery in your back.
He took that thing away by saying I had to forgive my father. And when he did that, that broke inside of me. It broke, and I became a free man. I picked up the phone and called my father and told him that, that if I did any wrong, forgive me if I done any wrong. But then, then that wasn't enough for me.
You had to go see him.
I had to go in his presence, and I drove down there. Me and your mother drove down there, and I sat in his presence in the living room, and I shared what I shared with him.
But you angry at first when your uncle stripped you for that? Of that battery in your back?
I was angry because I was using that as a tool. But yet, my uncle loved me that much and was so obedient to God that he took time out to tell me what I needed to hear.
He took the
Not what I wanted to hear. He told me what I needed to hear, and that transformed my life. And from that point on, my life had changed for the better.
he hold that battery hostage. He said, "No, nephew, you ain't getting that back." Nah, I like
Now
that.
he stripped me
I like
because
that.
the
I like that.
enemy was holding me hostage.
Yeah.
And I got free from the enemy because I got rid of the hate.
Was it enemy and self?
That was the enemy thinking I was doing what the right thing. That self was doing the right thing. And self was doing the foolish thing, the dumbest thing, because I was holding on to something. And then I became what I didn't want to become. And I got delivered at that moment.
All right, Uncle Von.
So he made a great impact on my life, and that transformed my life. And that's why when I look at the people that played a important part of my life, I realized that all the forgiveness that I had to go deal with, you're fake, you're phony, you're going to return back. This is from uncles and aunts. You know, you going, oh, my father, you think you better than me, and you think you better than us, and this and that. All these comments that was coming at me from a young fella trying to do the right thing. And, you know, I'm hearing all these comments that come and degrade me, belittle me, but yet through it all, I forgave every single person as if they done no wrong to me, and love them unconditionally.
Now, how long can they be in your presence when you see him?
They could be in my presence for as long as they want. But as long as they positive, I don't like being around nobody negative.
Gotta ask that.
And as long as they positive, I'm fine. They could be, we could sit, we could dine together.
I gotta ask that because you know in my mind, if I go see Shorty down south, the one that said that to you,
Yeah.
boy, she better.
I forgave my aunt.
Yeah,
You
hold
know,
that tongue with me.
I forgave my aunt even at my aunt homegoing. I was able to sit in dialogue as if nothing was ever said. You know, but it goes to that forgiveness. You gotta forgive. I don't need the closure. I just for me to say, please forgive me. Please forgive me if I harm you, if I hurt you. Please forgive me. That's all I need. If you accept it or not, just understand that I totally forgave you.
I gotta do the same thing.
And I'm not holding on to nothing. I love you unconditionally. You know, unconditionally, I love you. That's a place where I love being at because it's freedom.
Right.
Man, I got to take a couple pages out your book, man. Because listen, with me, man, I guess, you know, the old night saying, the sins of the father weighs on the son, whatever. It's like you let that joint go. In my head, I said, man, you better not play with this man in front of me, man. Cause listen, I'm gonna let you know he there. He already ascended already. He cool. I'm still working on me. You know what I mean? That's that flesh gonna be rising up. Man, don't play with this man in front of me, man. Don't do that.
Because see, that's why I have to take responsibility, as I said earlier, that I must role model before y'all.
Yeah, man.
I got to be the example. How can I encourage y'all to do something that I haven't done? I got to do that. The more and more I look at you, the more and more I see Mike.
Yeah, that's a fact, ain't he? You hear me?
Same hairline, everything.
Oh,
yeah.
Facial expression, the nose,
man.
everything. I'm looking
Yo,
at
the way he sit.
I'm looking at my
You know
brother.
what I'm saying? The way he sit like this all the time.
Yeah,
Like,
look at-
man,
look
you
at my
got
brother.
pop. You hear me?
You know, get nervous all the time.
Yeah, all the
that. Same
time.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I ain't stutter yet, man.
You know?
Usually I do that rubber. My sisters be laughing at
Yeah.
me.
Yo, so
It's crazy.
you know, I thank God for it. But I want to appreciate you asking me those questions. I appreciate that. And once again, we hope we help someone. If you heard anything that was said that had struck your nerve, or anything that you heard that was said that offended you, please understand it was nothing to harm you. There was no malice intent behind anything. It was just we have some young men that's being honest and being transparent. And if you desire to help, you know, it's important for you to have dialogue. It's important for you to take the insight, the information that was shared and process it, and then see how you can benefit from this. Because my goal as a bishop, my goal as a father, my goal, you know, as an uncle, my goal as a man is to make a difference in the lives of others. And whatever I have to do it, that's what I'm willing to do. Because I want to see these men become the finest men, God-loving, God-fearing men, training their children how to live and experience this God-given life. That's more important than anything. That's how the family name has a legacy. That's how a legacy is created. A positive legacy. Not known as heathens, known as people abandoning, liars, gossipers, backbiters, and all that. People not responsible for taking care of their children. None of that stuff. Whoremongers. But individuals that has integrity, that has character, that has values and morals, that is lined up with the scripture. Not none that's hiding and saying, well, I'm only human. None of that. No, that's an excuse right
corny,
there.
man.
Not just saying, well, we know we all done wrong. No, duh, we all done wrong. But how much longer will we hide behind those things instead of rising up above those things and being godly examples? People, please take heed to what was shared. We love you enough to be open and be transparent. And we hope some father know how to communicate better with their son. And that some son will learn how to communicate better with their father. And that be able to walk in harmony together, doing what we're supposed to do. Ladies, I pray that you got some understanding out of this. Don't get upset of anything that you have heard, but understand the hearts that was being shared. And understand the importance of you taking heed of that and recognize how we could damage
And get out the
a
way.
son. And get out the way.
Get out the way.
And
man.
allow the men, the godly men, to do what needs to be done. That's what's most important. And I encourage you ladies, stop. If you make poor decisions in choosing a man, never attack your sons or your son when you make poor decisions in choosing men. Truthfully, you don't have a right to say anything about what kind of women they entangle themselves with. Because if you're not role modeling it, just like the father, if you're not role modeling it, you can't tell them nothing.
Right.
Because you first must practice what you preach. And if you preach a negativity, you don't have the right to say anything. But encourage them by being the godly examples before them so that they see a good example. That's important. We appreciate you. We're thankful for you. I also want to thank my youngest son, Malachi, for handling all that you're seeing today. He's handling. He's the man behind the camera, handling it all. I want to say thank you to him for taking time out of his schedule to make sure that he's here to play a part in this. Greatly appreciate that. We love you. We appreciate you. And we also encourage you to stay tuned for a part 2 because we are here to make a difference in the lives of the brothers and families. That is what's most important. We love you and we look forward to seeing you again. Be blessed.
Peace.
Peace.